So episode 5 is here, and you can bet this is going to be one huge episode, especially after the big reveal about Zeke being Mecca and Monet's son. Now even though we, the audience, know he's their son, I don't expect the secret to be revealed to anyone else on Ghost until probably later on in the season. As far as the rest of the Tejadas are concerned, Zeke is still their cousin, but I'm sure more will be revealed in terms of the timeline, the relationship between Mecca and Monet, and just why did Monet send Zeke away. So there are still a lot of questions that need to be answered, and everything will be drip fed to us over the course of the season. Now I'm sure we're going to see movement on Lorenzo's release, because this is still being worked on, and there is a judge who's casted for episode 5 on IMDb. So let's see if Lorenzo is released in episode 5 or if it's later on in the season. Now we do have to say IMDb is not always 100% accurate, as we all know. 2bit's been listed for a couple of episodes in this second season, but he's nowhere to be seen, and we'll touch on him later on in this video. But there of course were 3 new scenes that were released in the week, so we'll be running through them, as well as some of the quotes from a few of the actors, teasing a few bits from episode 5, and we're going to run through the theme of this week's episode, and why I think Tariq could end up behind bars by the end of the episode, leaving it on a real cliffhanger, and going into the second half of the season. But there's only one place to start with Coming Home to Roost, episode 5, and that's the synopsis. It reads, Tariq races against the clock for Yasmin. With pressure being placed on Monet, she struggles to wear the Tejada crown. And I went through the meaning behind Coming Home to Roost earlier on in the week, and if you've noticed, every single classroom scene this season sets a very specific theme for the episode. So the scene that was revealed earlier on in the week, with Carrie questioning Tariq about karma, has given us a huge clue for what's to come for Tariq in my opinion, along with the title of the episode. Karma is something that is going to slap Tariq in the face in this episode. Tariq's sins are something that he can't run from, and Grandma Estelle even made him realize just what he's done to their family. But you can tell Carrie definitely knows something, which is why she suddenly changed the topic to karma, and she was grilling Tariq. She really was questioning him. I did say during the Power Off season that Jabari's novel will play a huge role in what's to come, and Kamalte is the one who found it at the end of episode 4, so I do think this is going to come into play in episode 5, and with Whitman just focusing on Zeke, I think we could see Tay and Carrie working together, and this is why Carrie wants to question Tariq in front of the class about karma. Those who have done bad things, karma will eventually come back around and bite the person who's committed all those sins, and Tariq's time will definitely come. And I do think Tariq will end up in a cell by the end of the episode, and he'll be locked up and linked to one of the 3 murders, either Bars, Jabari or Ramirez. And there was this scene that I made reference to, which is from the season trailer, which could potentially be in episode 5. And when he does find himself in trouble, not if, when he finds himself in trouble for one of the murders, which I think he will, we'll see him later on in the season approaching Tamika and then Davis McLean and Cooper Saxe for help. And in this final episode before the break, I do think we're going to see Tariq really up against it from different angles. He's going to be racing against time to save Yaz, and if he does end up in a cell by the end of the episode, I don't think he'll succeed in saving Yaz, and she just might end up with Grandma Estelle. Now the other problem that Tariq has with Grandma Estelle is, he's going up against the one person who's his alibi for Jabari's murder. She could turn around and blow his whole story wide open, and if Kamal Tate digs into this, Tariq definitely will be in trouble. Now one person he's already in trouble with is Monet, and that's because he lied to her. He lied to her face when he told her he had nothing to do with Jabari's murder, and she's gonna want control over Tariq, that's for sure, as well as revenge. I went through how she'll be using Kane to find Tariq's weaknesses in this video yesterday, so I'll leave the link to this video down below. But just as a brief overview, Kane is going to be rocking up to Stansfield, and he'll meet Lauren, and probably realize that this is Tariq's girl, and this is the way to get control over him. Now Tariq definitely has another weakness, and that's Yaz, but she's off limits, because if Monet touches her, then she's signing her own death warrant. But she is in foster care, so it will be difficult to get to Yaz, which leaves Lauren in the open. Now this could also be how Lauren finds out about Tariq's double life, and maybe even push her away from him, because of all of Tariq's lies, and how she has this belief that all drug dealers and murderers should end up in prison, something which she mentioned in season 1. And if Tariq does have trouble in paradise with Lauren, then this is what could push him into the direction of either Effie or Diana, because they understand him a lot more. They know who he really is and what he's really capable of, and he can be open and honest with them. But they also know Tariq can't be trusted, because he's always looking out for himself. It won't stop them from getting close to Tariq, as we've seen from these previous teasers. But with Lauren, it can go a few ways. We've already seen a slight turn in her character, where she helped Tariq sneak in a phone for Yaz, and eventually we could see her even accepting him for who he is and help him to get him out of trouble, for example with the use of the Rolex and the wire. So this is one way they could get rid of Kane possibly, or does she go a separate way and gets a scholarship, at least for Washington, or she could even get caught in a crossfire. There are so many ways this story can go with Lauren, But Monet attacking Tariq's weakness is a huge mistake. Tariq is someone who's learned from some of the best in the game, and he'll be on demon time, that's for sure. Even if he does have his back against the wall in this episode, in the end, he's the one who's gonna come out on top. And we really will start to see him making these ghost-like moves. Now, Monet may be in control over Tariq, but she's also someone who's struggling to hold it down with her own family. Drew and Diana have been questioning her decision all season long, and also to allow Kane back into the family, especially because Diana knows that he was the one who switched up the product, so she'll be questioning Monet's move again. And Lorenzo's been questioning her since season 1. He's never really been a fan of the way she's been running things on the outside, because she really is underestimating both Drew and Diana. Even though she may think what she's doing is best for them, but she's not taking into account what they want. Just imagine what will happen when they find out Zeke is their stepbrother, and Monet's allowed Zeke to do everything that they wanted to do. Diana wanted to go college to play ball, Drew wanted to go college to draw, but both of them were kept playing their positions. And this is the major turning point for both of their characters to really turn against Monet. And even Lorenzo will probably be able to sense that she's losing control because she's way too focused on protecting Zeke, who's going to be back at the police station facing some more questions. But with Lorenzo, we're going to see this scene. So we're going to see Monet visiting him after the last time she stood him up and sent Diana. Now, I'm sure Lorenzo knows the money that was in the safe was used by Diana to work on his release, which is exactly why he told Monet to use that money in episode 4, because he knew it wasn't there. Davis McLean and Diana are working on his release, and who knows if he's going to be released in episode 5. I really wouldn't be surprised if he was, because we saw how quickly and quietly they managed to get Kanan and 2-Bit out of prison, and it really would make a very tense second half of the season with both Lorenzo and Mecca free. Now, especially because Mecca is still out there manipulating and mentoring Kane, and he's still going to be up to his old tricks and games with the Tejadas, and he's got them right where he wants them. He's now got Monet wrapped around his thumb because of how he paid $1 million to Davis McLean for Monet. Now she'll owe him, and I still feel there's more to his character. We know he's Zeke's father, he's also ex-military, and those around him are people he's served with, which is the chef and Nuff. But how did he get into the drug game, and how long has he been in the game for? For someone who has a penthouse suite like this, supercars, and a plane full of product, he's definitely been in the game for a while, or he smells like an undercover cop. He's been away for 24 years, so there's definitely more to his backstory than him just being Zeke's father, him spending some time out in Kuwait, and owning a business. But elsewhere, just coming away from Tariq and the Tejadas for a moment, the actor who plays Cooper Saxe has teased that he's got a very impactful scene around the midway point of the season. He said there's a scene around mid-season that was very incredibly impactful for him. It shed so much light on what Saxe is all about. He couldn't get into any details, but he believes it's going to speak so much volume about his character and what makes him tick in his core. Actions definitely speak louder than words for Saxe, and he's a man of action. And with Saxe, we've actually seen a bit of a change from his character. Instead of putting the bad guys away, he's defending them. But what made him tick in his core, in power, was not being able to put Ghost or Tommy away. And we've seen very subtle hints of him not agreeing with McLean's ways a few times this season, because he's been questioning his motives. But McLean is all about money, and Saxe is all about reputation and making a name for himself, and he can't do that if he's working under McLean. So I think we could see Saxe coming to a bit of a crossroad at some point this season. Now, there was also the storyline with Rashad Tate wanting Congressman Rick Sweeney's C, and him wanting Tariq to find some dirt on Sweeney, which I do think will drag on into the second half of the season, because Tariq has way more important issues to deal with. Now, somehow I think Rashad Tate will have so much influence around this whole situation with Kamal Tate's investigation at Stansfield, and there's going to be a bit of a conflict of interest here. Tate wants to investigate Tariq, but Rashad Tate needs Tariq to get what he wants. So how far is Rashad Tate willing to go to obtain this power? I'm sure we're going to find out. And finally, still no 2-Bit. I had a lot of questions and comments on 2-Bit's character this week. I still think we're going to see him at some point on Ghost, because they can't have wrote him off after leaving his story open in season 1. Even if he is on his way to Chicago with Tommy, we still need to see how that happened. So whether it's on Ghost or whether we find out on Power Book 4 Force, I think we'll see 2-Bit's story one way or another. So that's a breakdown of what we can expect going into episode 5, based on the synopsis and the few new scenes that have been released over the last week or so. But as always with Power, we should all know by now, they only show us what they want us to see, just like how everybody thought Kane was the son of Mecca. So episode 5 is definitely going to be another one with a few twists and turns, and one which I think will end up with Tariq being locked up for one of the murders. But drop all your comments down below in the comment section. Let me know what your predictions are going to the midway point of Power Book 2 Ghost Season 2. drop all your comments down below, and of course if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.